So it's Darcy's Corner. It's February 18th, 2023. Still in Alberta. Life is carrying on. I did another comedy gig last night, and I don't usually. Well, I haven't done those too much in the past. It's the second one I did. I don't think I was funny the second time. I was kind of funny the first time, but the second time, I don't think it worked out so well. But I gave her a shot anyway. And I just talked about the 90s and what it was like being a trans kid in the 90s and not knowing you were a trans kid. Hold on a second. Sorry about that, I had to sneeze. Anyway, I got up and did my set and did my bit, and I made some jokes about being queer, and I made some jokes about being a boy-girl type of thing, and it was funny enough. Ironically, I think my introduction was funnier than anything else, because the guys introduced me didn't know how to pronoun me right, and so he just went through the list. But I thought that was funny too, so I just laughed. It was fine. I'm she Zer, by the way. That's she XER Zer, which kind of sounds like her, but it isn't really. Because I'm kind of a her, but not really. The trans world is kind of a scary place right now. Um, just recently, there was a 16-year-old girl stabbed to death in the middle of a park in the UK somewhere, and people's responses on Twitter are horrific. Some person's like, "What are we supposed to do? Lock up teenagers who stab people in the park?" Well, yes, actually. If your teenager's gonna stab somebody in the park, lock them up, because unfortunately they're a murderer, and we lock up murderers. That's how our society deals with that. Like, oh, it wasn't a hate crime that it was a trans girl who was stabbed for being a fucking trans girl in the middle of the park during the day. Like, you know, I'm all against violence against women, including trans women. I think violence on women is horrible. I think that the people who murdered that girl are despicable. I think that the person who murdered the people in that nightclub in Colorado a couple months ago was despicable. And that we really do need to stand up. And it can't be a Canada movement or an Australia movement or a Montana movement. No. Like, the world needs to stand up and say that trans people are people. We've always been here. We're always going to be here. And it's not a big deal. Like, really, there are people who want to make it a crime. People who live in supposedly free societies want to make it a crime to wear a dress or wear a suit or appear in what someone else decides is the wrong gender. Like, who the frick are you to make that decision for me or anybody else? The reason more of us are visible now, the reason more of us are out now, is because we can be. Because it's not as dangerous as it was, but it's still freaking dangerous. I realized that was a strange pause in my recording. I just looked over on a coffee table and seen some letters sitting there that were not overly important, but they look kind of official. And the thing about Khaleesi is, anything that's sitting out, that's paper, like a hard plastic or a leather thing, is just a chew toy she hasn't gotten to yet. I just recently bought a new shoe rack that has panels on the front so that she will stop chewing up my shoes so she can't find them anymore. She's adorable, but like, she drives me freaking nuts. But the nice thing about dogs, though, is they're loyal. I mean, loyal-ish, anyway. If there was somebody here other than me, giving her more attention than me, she would probably love them more. But there's not. And so she thinks I'm pretty cool. Men, on the other hand, and people say men are dogs. Men are not dogs. Dogs are loyal. Dogs are loving. Men are stupid. Which was my main rant last night. I'm like, oh. Since becoming a woman and only having dated really, like, well, one man, really, but I met two others, and they weren't overly smart. And the one I dated was like beyond stupid. It's like, dude, all you had to do was show up once in a while, and the world will be your oyster. And he's like, well, no, I don't participate. I'm like, you what? No, I don't participate. No offense. No offense. Get the fuck out. There's the door. I'd say I'll miss you, but you're never here anyway. So no, you just carry on. The non-offense is noted. Oh, man, men are just so stupid. I mean, I was one. I was stupid too. I was clueless as to what women wanted or didn't want. And I'm still a little bit on the clueless side when it comes to what women want. Other women, that is. I mean, generally speaking, what other women want is not me. Which makes it really difficult to be a lesbian. But I try. But, you know, sometimes I'm not a lesbian. Sometimes I'm more like, I don't know what the fuck I am. Okay, that's why I'm a Zer. I'm a Zerbian. I do see gender. I've met people who told me that they don't see gender, and I believe them. But I do see gender. But I like them all. The problem is finding the ones that like me back. And that pool seems to be pretty narrow. Or if they do let me back, it's in secret and they have to hide it. I'm like, no, we don't actually. No, I am not a secret. I am nothing to be hidden. And more of us need to be out. More of us need to be not secrets and not hidden. Otherwise, more incidents like people getting shot in nightclubs and stabbed in the middle of the park, those are going to become more commonplace. Because people don't see those other people as people. So many people don't see that crime as a woman hate crime. But she was stabbed to death for being a woman. That's a woman hate crime. I'm sorry to tell you this. There's nothing wrong with being a woman, and you shouldn't be stabbed to death just for being one. That doesn't mean we should all pile on the men either. Just because a man is there doesn't mean he is by default guilty of something. Or just because a woman says something doesn't mean that the man did that. And in fact, the woman doesn't even have to say anything. Like the number of times I've seen men lose their homes and lose everything because she said so. She didn't say he was abusive. She didn't say he was horrible. She just said, get out. And he lost it all. Well, that's not right either. You know, we shouldn't hate people just because they exist, male or female. Somebody isn't guilty by default. That is not the way we want to view the world, because it's just not true. There are good men out there. There are smart men out there. None of them are interested in me, but maybe one day I'll find one. But I would still take a girl. And when it comes to men, women, and Zers, I'll take them straight, cis, gay. I really am very flexible that way. But you do have to be nice to me. And I would really appreciate it if you bought me flowers. And if you wanted to hang out and do some of the silly things I do, paint pictures, play video games, sing karaoke. If you want to know about beekeeping, I can talk your ear off for hours about that. It's hard finding people. It really is. And it's hard being alone all the time. But at least I have my dog. Anyway, this is a cheery one. Darci's Corner. Peace.